All right, folks. So, really excited to jump in today. I have one of my clients, Timothy, who is going to share his experience in the program so far. And we were talking last week and the week before, and he's just done so well over the last kind of 5 months in the program. And I thought it'd be really helpful for him to share his story for those of you listening. Okay. So, let's jump in, Timothy. Why don't you share a bit about yourself, who you are, where you're based, what you do day to day?
Yeah, totally. Obviously, you said my name is Timothy. I live in Alexandria, Virginia, which is right outside Washington, D.C., half an hour outside the city. I've been here for, gosh, almost 20 years. Originally from southeastern Virginia, which is near the beach. So I'm a software engineer, which means I sit a lot. Um, And I was always very fortunate when I was younger because I was just naturally skinny, right? I ate whatever I wanted, drank as much as I wanted, alcohol wise, never really worried about working out. Um, and then I got into my late 30s, started to put on some weight, started noticing other problems like going up the stairs was difficult. It would leave me winded. And I mean, that's not a great experience. And so when I turned 40, I started working out, just like online stuff. I would find things on YouTube and I would do them. And I was really consistent about it, though. I did 20 minutes of calisthenics a day. I mean, I know, I'm sure objectively everything I did just sucked, but I did the best I could. And I focused on form too. And I think that consistency really laid a solid foundation. So when I came to you, that was about 2.5 to 3 years into that. And so by then, I'd done a lot of GMB programs, some of them multiple times. And I had the shoulder injury. I'm not really sure to this day how I got it, but it was my left shoulder, and I couldn't really extend my arm all the way up, and I certainly couldn't do things like pull up at a full hang or any handstand work or anything load bearing like the what is it, the high monkey. I think that's another one that just bedeviled me. I couldn't do it. I was following you on Facebook, and I don't know. I think we're Facebook friends from Elements Live last year. And so you're posting all this interesting stuff, and you posted something about shoulder rehab, and I'm like, I should probably look into that so that I can
Mm.
start progressing. And then we had a conversation, and I signed up, and now we're here.
Yeah, exactly. That's
And a bunch
great,
of other
mate.
stuff
So
happened.
yeah, we're going to get into that now as well. And like, so you kind of hit 40 or coming into your 40s, and you could feel like, right, I need to start doing something. You're getting winded going up the stairs. And then you started doing different calisthenics programs. And it sounds like that got you to a certain point, but then the shoulder started inhibiting you. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. And also some of the more advanced stuff like balance work. I never really, I never felt like I was able to get very far on my own working at that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Hmm. And then obviously we chatted, and we came across each other on GMB's live elements program. I was teaching last year, and I guess even though like I think there's a lot of trust if someone comes through GMB and they see me and I'm a lead trainer, there is a lot of trust I think already, but like it's still an online program and a lot of it's rehab. So like what maybe things were you skeptical about before joining? Maybe the first few weeks, you're like maybe not sure. Would love to kind of hear your thought process there.
Well, I didn't have too much skepticism because, I mean, as you pointed out, I met you through GMB, and I really like GMB, and I like their approach, and I think it differs from a lot of other fitness content that's out there on the internet, most of which is just garbage. Um, so that I think helped to establish trust. if I was skeptical of anything, it was just that I would be able to rehab the shoulder at all, because I'd been living with it for over a year, and it just feels impossible. And you think, gosh, what am I? Maybe this is just my life now, and I need to get used to this. I think one thing you did that was very helpful, on the first voice conversation we ever had, and you were like, you need to go see a physical therapist and have somebody actually take some x-rays and look at it. And I did that. So I think it was very good that you lit a fire under my ass to do that. So
yeah, that's great, man. And I think we just got like all the background information, in those first few weeks. So then we kind of knew what was going to be the best way to go forwards. So let's move into that, like some breakthroughs that you had maybe when you were like, because the point you just mentioned there is it's super important, I think, to go over that, because I think a lot of times, and I've gone through this myself with injuries, is you're kind of like, maybe this is just the way it is now, and maybe I just need to accept that I'll just have this pain forever, and I'll just work, or I'll just avoid everything. So obviously you were thinking that, and then what was the first point where you were like, whoa, my shoulder is getting better, and it is going to get better, and I'm not going to be stuck this way?
Yeah, great question. Because you had me doing a bunch of shoulder rehab stuff right off the bat, and it was so strange. It was so difficult for me to, like, this whole thing where you have to pull your shoulder back and then do these movements. Like my body just didn't know how to do that, and I really had to work at it. But it helped in the end. And then I think it was actually the physical therapist when they started doing this like myofascial massage, that kind of broke up a lot of tension sort of in my whole back and shoulder area. And then I started seriously working on pull-ups and being able to go start them lower and lower, which I've always done pull-ups from basically from about here, right?
Okay, so for people listening, like, you weren't doing pull-ups from a full hang, so you were doing them from like, so like your elbows were like at 90 degrees, we'll say, and you're pulling yourself up to the bar and then back down to 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you want to share the story? Because I think that's a really cool story you shared with us on the call. I think it was last week or the week before.
Oh yeah. So so the story is that I took a week off from working out because I had my cousin staying with me. We were in DC going to museums and restaurants and whatnot. And early in the week, we went on a long walk, and we came to this playground. It's kind of nestled in the woods, where there's a trail that I like to run on. And so, she goes over to the swing set, and there's like a jungle gym there, right? And so there's this little bit of horizontal bar. So I thought, I'm gonna give my best shot at a pull-up. So I get up there, and I was able to go down. It's not a complete full hang, but it's right there. It's pretty close. And
it pretty much it is, mate. Like, you'd be really picking hairs to not, there's a little minor bend, but yeah, it's like you rarely see chin-ups like that in a commercial gym, let's just say that.
Yeah, and I did a pull-up, like a solid pull-up, and I hung out at the top and had a controlled descent, and my cousin was like, whoa. And she was asking me how I trained to do that, because she works out too. So she's like, oh, so did you use like a resistance band? And actually I only did that at the physical therapist. I didn't do that at home for some reason. But yeah, that was really gratifying, because I hadn't really worked out in about a week, and I did it.
Yeah. I think the cool thing as well is that, like, initially that sort of stuff was going to make your shoulder painful, right? Like doing something like that full extension.
I couldn't have done it. I mean, I couldn't even lift my left arm over my head like this. Like that would have given me like a serious twinge of pain, like the sort of pain where that you have to stop.
Yeah. So that's a huge change there, going from like sitting on a chair not being able to lift your hand overhead to like hanging, lifting your entire body weight from basically a dead hang without pain and
I
actually have
know.
that's awesome, mate.
It's a big.
Great. So that's a huge result. And like you were saying as well, you've never done that ever. Like, so do you feel like you're the strongest you've ever been, even before you didn't have shoulder pain?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I
Amazing.
mean, you've had all sorts of. I think all of the ring movements in particular have really helped me to get stronger. But I mean, even things like doing the scap push-ups in full plank, like that's another movement that I think has really strengthened my back and my shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We've
yeah.
done a lot of work with your scapula, and you're way more, resilient and strong there, which is awesome. Uh, I'd like to talk to you as well. I mean, we've been talking, so like you rehabbed your shoulder, you're the strongest you've ever been, which is fantastic. But you've also really done incredibly well with the lifestyle side of things, in particular, like the sleep. Do you want to talk about that side of things as well?
Yeah, so I've pretty much been a lifelong chronic insomniac. I haven't suffered too much greatly from it, I would say, at least in the sense that I like being up at night, like I like doing things, and so it never bothered me in that way. But obviously, from a health perspective, from a lifestyle perspective, as I've become more physically active, that poor sleeping schedule has it started to be a liability. And of course, I also run in addition to everything I'm doing with you. So yeah, it really wasn't that great. And and another thing that I really liked up front about your program is the focus on all of the lifestyle stuff. It's not like it's working out, and yeah, we'll pay lip service to the fact that you have to have good diet and you have to sleep and recovery, but like that's just all part of it. That's as big a part of it as the movements you do in your workout. Although if you think about it, it's probably even bigger because you do that more than you work out, right? Eating
Yeah.
meals, working on your sleep. So yeah, I think the way that you present those things in the program was really beneficial, and it it certainly gave me a good framework for working on this stuff. And I got some different sleep apps, my Apple Watch wearable, and I just started tracking it. And I figured out when I need to go to bed to get the best sleep, and slowly worked at it. And I mean, something you say a lot: progress is never linear; it's incremental. So there were a lot of it definitely was not linear, but
Yeah.
over time, actually, it is linear if you like zoom back.
Yeah. That's a really
So
good point.
I've gone from sleeping, 4 to 5 hours a night to now 7 to 8. The
That is
past
so
8,
wild.
8.5 hours, and if I do
Wow.
wake up, I'm able to go back to sleep.
Yeah, mate. Like, this is kind of like what you were saying earlier. Maybe you're not feeling the effects as much now, or maybe you were starting to feel the effects of lack of sleep, especially as you got more physically active. But I think if we map that out like 10 years from now, still at like 4 to 5 hours a night, you're talking about pretty significant health issues versus like getting 7 to 8 hours a night. You're just, it's such a good thing from a longevity standpoint and a health standpoint. Uh, do you feel energy wise, mood wise, do you feel a big difference given you're almost sleeping twice as many hours now at night?
Oh yeah, huge difference. I mean, one thing is that I don't feel tired in the afternoon. I don't need to take naps anymore, and
Yeah.
it's just nice to wake up with a clear head, be alert, ready to work out or go on my run, or whatever craziness is happening with my job. So that's yeah, sleep really is it really is a big win getting that
Yeah.
under control.
Yeah, mate. It's huge. That's just I would say it's almost as big a win as the shoulder, but they're both huge wins and like they're just amazing results. And I think again, there's a lot of people out there who have injuries and they have that mindset, like maybe this is something I'm just going to have to deal with. And also people who struggle with sleep and, oh, maybe just 4 hours is, I can't do anything about it. And like, you're such proof that with a different path, you get a completely different outcome. So I think it's just really helpful for you to share your results with everyone today, mate.
Yeah. And it's really just working at it over time, just hacking away at it, and not ever feeling like, oh, I failed. I slipped back into my rut, right, which I totally did, over the past 5 months. I would get back into all my poor sleep habits with the iPad on my nightstand, and then you just have to get back at it, keep plugging away.
That's great. And like, I think you've pretty much given advice there, but like, let's just say there is a guy, let's just say it's you from 6 to 9 months ago, and he's got some sort of an injury that's really affecting him. His sleep is compromised and he's just kind of a bit fed up with the situation. Like, what advice would you give to that person to make the first step forwards to get things on track?
I mean, I would certainly recommend your program to him, since, like I was saying, your approach addresses all of those things. It's not just exercising and getting stronger. And then, I mean, the other piece of advice I would say is, don't get discouraged. I mean, don't expect amazing results. Just focus on the lifestyle changes and how that feels. And when something doesn't feel right, figure out why and tweak it so that you can keep making progress. I think that's great. That's really huge.
Yeah. I think what you just said is just like, keep moving forwards, adjust things, keep moving. Don't get discouraged. So who would I know you've kind of said someone in that position would be a good recommendation for the program. It would benefit them. Is there anyone that you think mightn't be a good fit and mightn't be the best option for them with the program?
I mean, certainly anybody who's new to fitness, who's new to who wants to make a change and lead a more healthy lifestyle. Like, I wish I had found a program like this when I first started out, rather than, fumbling around for a year and a half, various YouTube videos. And I mean, like I was saying, there's a lot of crap out there in the fitness world, and I went through quite a lot of it. A lot of frustrating things where, you watch a video about working out with resistance bands and they're like, oh yeah, you should definitely, don't forget to do your stretches. And then they don't talk about what that means. I don't know. I'm a total noob. I have no idea. So yeah, I think certainly somebody who is new to fitness, I think they would benefit immensely from a program like yours. And obviously anybody who has an injury that they want to rehab.
Yeah, for sure, mate. It's definitely, I think, just getting clarity at the start is always the best way. But I think we all are kind of the same. Like, when I started coaching, I was coaching, and it was, I think, probably 4 years into my coaching career until I actually got a coach myself to do coaching on me. And then all my injuries disappeared. I got really good results. So it's it's funny that sometimes it's so obvious, but it's still hard to see that sometimes. But that's everything I wanted to cover with you, mate. Yeah, I really appreciate you taking time out of your morning, mid afternoon or midday. And and again, just so delighted with the results you've gotten to date, and just excited for your results for this year and beyond as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited too.
Awesome, mate.